What's up, Couch fam? Welcome to the Week 4 Waiver Wire Pickups video where I have ads at every single position, including defense and kicker, and they are ranked, and we're starting with the quarterbacks. Let's get right into it. All right, guys, number 1 is CJ Stroud. We got guys like Puka Nacua and CJ Stroud out here breaking records, and the Texans are no longer a joke. They are a real team. I was wrong about them. They're looking really good, all thanks to the draft picks they made and their new coach. So CJ Stroud, man, he's really slinging it, making Nico Collins more than relevant, making Tank Dell very relevant, and those guys are must adds in every single league if they're available, of course. Matthew Stafford, he didn't look too good Monday Night Football, but I'm going to credit the Bengals' plan on offense and their plan on defense for that. We saw a little bit of light towards the end, a little bit of a comeback. I think he'll be fine. And Cooper Kupp is probably going to be back week 5. Now, it's the earliest he's going to come back. He might come back like week 6 or something. But still, he's going to be coming back soon. And Matthew Stafford is already a decent quarterback. Once he gets back a top 5 wide receiver in Cooper Kupp, his value will only go up. And it's not a bad streaming option against the Colts either. Now, Daniel Jones, he does kind of suck. I have him as a buy low option. We talked about that on our second YouTube channel, Fantasy Couch Podcast. If you're in a Superflex league, a deep league, go get Daniel Jones. And look, he's just really not that good of a quarterback. I'm going to say it just outright. It's really relied on designed quarterback runs and his rushing yards. If he didn't get rushing yards, he would just be an absolute, just a non-fantasy relevant at all, not even in Superflex League. But he does run, and I do like him as an ad. I think he'll be better. He did face 2 really tough teams the first 3 weeks, really tough defenses. And it's looking like he has some better matchups moving forward. Russell Wilson, this will be the 1 week you can actually start him going against the Bears. Bears and Broncos have like the 2 worst defenses in the league, so could be some scoring opportunities for both teams there. Oh, it's funny. I compare Daniel Jones to Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs looks like a better quarterback. He does. You just can't really start him this week. I still think he has a shot to be semi-decent this week. You just can't start him. You can't start Joshua Dobbs against the the Niners. You just can't do it. But he's a good ad moving forward after this week. And if you can't get any of those guys, look for Mac Jones. They're throwing the ball a little bit more this year. Jameis Winston is now the starter for the Saints. Derek Carr with a shoulder injury will likely be out roughly 3 weeks. Andy Dalton might start 1 more week. Bryce Young probably will miss 1 more week. And Gardner Minshew might start. I think Anthony Richardson, it will be okay with that concussion and come back. There's a chance he could be out as well. And then Jimmy Garoppolo, I would have as a really good sneaky start this week, but he is questionable and might not play. If he doesn't play, go with Aiden O'Connell in a deep league or Superflex league. Aiden O'Connell, pretty good quarterback. He doesn't run a lot, but could throw the rock a lot. We'll see what happens there. Maybe he's just absolutely garbage, but we're liking Jimmy G in fantasy because Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers are both very fantasy relevant every week they play. So we like that. We'll see what happens if Aiden O'Connell does play, but he can throw as well. Okay, moving on to running backs. The big question I've been getting is Devon Achane. Will he be good? Is he worth 100% FAB? Is he worth a waiver claim? And the honest answer is I don't know how Achane is going to be. This has been a very tricky situation as far as the backfield goes with the Dolphins. Reminds me a lot of the Niners backfield before they got CMC. 1 month a running back balls out, then the next month another running back balls out, and they just keep getting injuries. But it's hard to put the cat back in the bag. Like, it's already unleashed. Devon Achane put up 50 fantasy points. I would be comfortable spending all my FAB on him, and so if I had to put a number, I would say spend 50% of your starting FAB on him. He could do nothing the rest of the year. He could be good the rest of the year, and we're going for upside. The rest of the guys on this list, they could be zeros, they could be inconsistent, or their upside is severely capped. Like a guy like Kenny Gainwell, he just got 14 carries, but let's face it, right? He's not as good as DeAndre Swift, and Jalen Hurts is also a running back as well. He gets a lot of those goal line touchdowns. Like, his upside is totally capped if Swift stays healthy. Jalen Warren, he's kind of the best running back on that team, but there's Najee Harris is still there. He's still getting snaps, and that offense sucks. Like, the list goes on and on, right? Like, or Elijah Mitchell, actually, he probably has the most upside out of anybody, but he's close to a 0 as long as CMC is playing. Like, there's just really not any option here where I'd be like, yeah, man, this guy can get you 20 to 50 fantasy points. It's possible. It's really not without anything else happening. On top of that, Raheem Mostert, one of the most injury-prone players. So, yeah, man, go get Devon Achane. I'm glad that I drafted him in Dynasty. I kind of reached for him in Dynasty, and I do have him in some best ball leagues. I didn't know how it would work out in regular leagues, but and I still don't. We'll see. Nonetheless, I would burn a waiver claim on him. I'd be comfortable spending the rest of my FAB or 51% of my FAB on him. I would do it. If you think you can get him for 33% FAB, that's fine. I just like to risk it. And look, it's week 4. To me, it's urgency. I don't think there's going to be too many really good waiver ads moving forward. Just think about it, because we're kind of living in the moment. We're thinking right now in fantasy. Look at the big picture. How many chances do you think you'll have in future weeks to add a guy who can get 50 fantasy points, who just got 50 fantasy points? I mean, I would bank on it being 0. Okay, so this is your chance. Devon Achane, he's really good. I liked him as a prospect. He's in a great, it's the best fit. And, you have the chance to get him. I say go get him. And at the very worst, if you do get him and you're like, oh man, I kind of overbid, I think somebody would want to trade for him. A trade for a guy who just got 50 fantasy points. I think that's doable. Roschon Johnson was a bench last week, but I'm seeing about a 55-45 split moving forward. I think he's the better running back. He's going to be the goal line back, and he's a better third down back. That means more chance to get touchdowns, more chance to get receptions over Khalil Herbert. So I do like him. And this week, you can actually start him going against the Broncos. Eli Mitchell, probably the best handcuff in all of fantasy. If CMC misses time, Elijah Mitchell, top 10 running back, maybe even top 5 upside. Zach Charbonnet, great stash. He keeps getting more and more touches, more and more snaps. Kenny Gainwell, Jalen Warren. These are kind of self-explanatory. We all know Najee Harris sucks. If you needed me to say it, yeah, Najee Harris is Trent Richardson 2.0. He sucks. He's terrible. If you have Najee Harris, maybe trade him away to the dumbest fantasy owner in your league. Say a prayer. Keaton Mitchell, I love him as a stash. Now, this could be one of those guys who's just like totally irrelevant, just gets you 0. Also, could be the best running back on the Ravens. You get him, you stash him on IR, see what happens. J.K. Dobbins out for the year. Gus Edwards hurt. Like, where have we've heard this story before. Like, what is going on? Justice Hill hurt. Go stash Keaton Mitchell. He has the most upside in this entire backfield. Ezekiel Elliott, RB2 for the Patriots. Kendre Miller, now we're kind of getting into more drop territory, but Kendre Miller, I still have high hopes for him. He's just going to have a slow start to the season, and not a lot of RBs are doing anything for the Saints. Jerick McKinnon, very limited touches. I actually don't love him that much. He did get in the end zone. Congratulations. But it's basically a 3-headed monster with Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and McKinnon. And we know that Mahomes is there, and he likes to throw it and spread the rock, and Kelsey's there. Samaje Perine, here's another game where you can actually start him. I mean, you may have started him before a couple times, but Perine going against the Bears, you got to love that matchup. And then in deeper leagues, we got Matt Breida, who Saquon Barkley might miss a game. Melvin Gordon, another like 1 week rental, just like Matt Breida. Tajay Spears, Tank Bigsby, Rico Dowd, Latavius Murray, getting those goal line touches. Kenyon Drake, Chuba Hubbard, handcuffed to Miles Sanders. Sean Tucker, handcuffed to Rashad White. And Ronnie Rivers, who seems to be the RB2 for the Rams. For wide receivers, obviously Tank Dell is a must-add. He is kind of in a tier of his own. When he's the number 1 wide receiver on the Texans, he's good. When he's the number 2, he's good. He's just good. And he's got a guy. He's on a team that throws the ball. You know, Dameon Pierce is getting 30 rush yards per game. It's all about throwing it, and Tank Dell's always gonna be one of the options they throw to. Adam Thielen, now that he's fully healthy, he's getting a ton of targets. And Quentin Johnston, not a guy I loved as far as a prospect. He had a lot of holes in his game. Not really a good jump ball guy. He's a big, strong, athletic wide receiver that plays not like a big, strong, athletic wide receiver. Nonetheless, this is a team that throws it. Herbert's really good. Now he's got his opportunity with Big Mike Williams. I like it as a speculative ad. It's just that everyone's going to be on it, and more people like his talent more than me. He is a really good yak guy, so the targets will go up. This could be a slow burn, though, so maybe it'll take another week. Maybe the Chargers, I believe, have a bye week 5, so it might be after the bye week, but that's the type of explosion that could be there. Week 6 on, maybe QJ will be amazing, and that's why I'm telling you to add him over Joshua Palmer, who has limited upside. DJ Chark looking better now that he's fully healthy, and Christian Watson will probably be back to play Thursday Night Football. That's why I'm not ranking these Green Bay wide receivers too high, but Romeo Doubs definitely worth an add. He'll probably be the number 2 wide receiver behind Christian Watson. Josh Downs, loved him as a prospect. He just keeps getting targets. We just need him to get in the end zone, and I think he will do it. He is very small, but he is a tough wide receiver who can score in these goal line situations and whatnot. He plays bigger than he is. And then we got Jaden Reed. JSN, I did want to talk about him. So JSN had wrist surgery, and he probably came back really early. Now, his grip wasn't really that good. He is getting open, and he is the best, hands down, the best prospect this year as far as wide receivers go. So he's the best rookie wide receiver. Now, expect him to perform better. This is the best buy low wide receiver option you can get in fantasy. And if you know me, right, if you're familiar with my content, I am cheap when it comes to fantasy trades. I'm all about value, and I think you can get JSN for nothing in a 10-team league. I mean, he's not even rostered. So you can get this guy for nearly nothing. Go get him. I expect him to start doing much better after this week 5 bye week. He could even see a jump week 4. Because remember, that surge, that was not nothing, man. He's getting his grip back. He will do better. The Seahawks do have that's what I wrote. I guess they do have a week 5 bye. I don't remember, but I wrote that down. So I think the Seahawks do have a week 5 bye, if my notes are right. Moving on, Michael Wilson, ex-wide receiver for the Cardinals. When I mean XYZ, not like former. KJ Osborne, Marvin Mims. He just seems to score touchdowns somehow, which is crazy. Got to get more playing time for him. Zay Jones, Brandon Cooks, Joshua Palmer, Nelson Aguilar, and Ronnie Bell. Obviously, these last few names are in just super deep leagues. For tight ends, I think these top 2 options are actually the good ones, Luke Musgrave and Jake Ferguson. After that, it kind of falls off. Tyler Higbee, he's not really good once Cooper Kupp comes back. And then Gerald Everett does get a boost with Mike Williams missing the remainder of the season. Cole Turner, super sleeper tight end. I like him. Noah Fant and Donald Parham. So really like Cole Turner, this is a great dynasty ad, a deep league ad. But other than that, if we're looking at tight ends that'll actually help you win in like a regular 12-team league, it's really just these two guys here, Musgrave and Ferguson. For defenses, last week we had some really good defenses. Unfortunately, it's a bit messy. Most leagues, you won't be able to get the Eagles or Chiefs D, just being realistic. I did want to throw that out there, though. I mean, I guess there's no, the Chiefs D was added in every league last week, so that's unrealistic. In a couple leagues, the Eagles D may have been dropped. But you're probably not going to be able to get either one. If you can, go get them. It's worth a waiver claim. It's worth a decent amount of FAB. Chiefs going against Zach Wilson. Eagles D going against Washington. That's looking good. And the Eagles D, I really like how they looked this last week. So if you can't get them, it's pretty much just, get whatever you can. There's not a big difference between the next few names. But we do have the Saints going against the Bucs. Probably won't be too high scoring there. Could be a messy game as well. Baker going against Jameis. And we got Steelers D going against the Texans. Probably won't be too high of a scoring game there. One sleeper defense, actually, that you can get for free that I really love. The Bengals are at home going against the Titans. The Titans look like crap. So, and the Bengals D is getting stronger. The Bengals team is looking better. They're improving every week. So I really do like the Bengals D this week. And I really do think you can get them for like 0.1% FAB or $0 or free agency. Can't get those names. Go for the Bucs going against the Saints. Could be a messy, low-scoring game. Broncos D going against the Bears. Now, Broncos D is horrible, but any team going against the Bears could give you a ton of fantasy points. Browns D going against the Ravens, and on the same game, Ravens D going against the Browns. Lots of injuries, lots of potential messy Deshaun Watson play there. Texans D going against the Steelers. The Steelers do not score a lot of points. So if their defense, the Steelers defense doesn't get any big plays, I think the Texans D could be good, like setting up for easy touchdowns and whatnot. Because it seems like the Steelers offense only puts up one touchdown a game. It's pretty bad. Patriots D going against the Cowboys. That's, my last ranked one. So hopefully you can get one of these two. If not, just, get something here. I don't know. It's kind of messy, but I did my best to give you at least 10 defenses to add. Definitely some sleepers like the Bengals D. So, good luck with that. For kickers, we do have some quality here. So hopefully you can get some of this quality. Don't have a lot of names. If you can get Jake Moody or Jake Elliott, those are two elite options. So those are easy. You get them, you start them, and, yell at me if they don't do good because I'm very confident in both these kickers. Now, if you can't get them, I really do like Cameron Dicker. As long as this team doesn't go for it on every fourth down and doesn't do a lot of two-point conversions, which this game probably looks like they won't be. Cameron Dicker should bounce back going against the Raiders. Look, you have a kicker or a tight end or usually even a running back. Going against the Raiders, they'll probably do well, which I just named almost every fantasy position. But it's usually a good thing when you got these guys going against the Raiders, but especially the tight end and kicker. They always seem to do well. And thank you, Freiermuth, for helping me win. I had Freiermuth and Boswell last week in a league, and I won thanks to them going against the Raiders. And then we have Cami Fairbairn, who's actually very talented. And now that he's not on a joke of a team, the Texans are not a joke anymore. Remember that. I do like him in deeper formats. Brandon Aubrey, he should just basically be good regardless. It's not really a good matchup. And I don't like when people try to predict like field goals. But if I had to, it does kind of seem like Cowboys will move the ball. They have some good players. They have Pollard, and maybe they do settle for some field goals. It's just not easy to predict. But Brandon Aubrey, you can't really argue against the fantasy points. And even though the Cowboys, they're probably not an elite team or anything like that, they're still a good team. So they will be in the field goal range quite a bit. And then Younghoe Koo, not really looking great this year, to be honest. So I did rank him a little bit lower. Still, he is a good, talented kicker. Should bounce back. But this Falcons team, they're good, but a little bit frustrating. They're not really like a up-tempo, slanting it offense. Like, it's okay. I still, like, I wouldn't necessarily drop him or anything unless you can get a Jake Moody or Jake Elliott. But I do like Younghoe Koo, just not as much. I'm losing a little bit of faith in the situation and in the kicker for the Falcons. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I answered just about every single question. We will go live Wednesday night for Hack My Lineup. We do that at 9 p.m. Eastern. Lots of fun on those live streams. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Also, make sure you subscribe to our second YouTube channel, Fantasy Couch Podcast. Good luck this week. I'll be reading those comments. Peace.